happened years back, when I was camping with my friend, me and Tyler, 5 days into the backwoods of Montana. 5 days of eating cold beans out of a can, sleeping on rocks, and hiking through shit that should have been illegal to call a trail. My boots were wrecked, my legs were on fire. We were sunburned, rain-soaked. Our feet were pulped inside rotting boots, and our food ran out a day and a half early. I hadn't slept properly in 3 days. Every noise outside the tent had me clutching my knife. Finally stumbled back into civilization, if you could even call it that. It felt like hitting civilization for the first time in a decade. First thing we did was find a diner. I don't remember the name. We looked like hell, mud-caked, reeking, half-starved, but the waitress didn't flinch. She poured us coffee with a smile that felt like morphine. "You all on some kinda survival trip?" she asked, looking over us. "Something like that," I said. She nodded. "Bus don't come till almost midnight. You boys got some time to kill." And kill it, we did. The bar was a few blocks down. Run down. Neon beer signs flickering in the windows, one pool table, and music from a broken jukebox looping half a verse before it skipped. But the whiskey was cheap and warm, and no one asked too many questions. We got drunk enough to feel human again, but not so drunk we couldn't walk to the bus stop when the time came. About 11:30, we headed out. There wasn't much to this town: a post office, a gas station, that diner, the bar, and a bus stop near the edge of the woods, just past an old wooden bridge that looked like it should have collapsed. The road out there had maybe 2 working streetlights, and they barely cut through the dark. We sat on the bench, packs between our knees, waiting. I remember checking my phone, 1% battery. Useless. Tyler was quieter than usual, eyes fixed on the black tree line beyond the bridge. Then we heard it. At first, I thought it was some animal. They get out here. Just a shuffle and a grunt. But it kept going. Heavy, dragging footsteps. Something or someone moving slow but deliberate. I squinted into the dark past the bridge and saw movement. "Probably some drunk," I muttered. Tyler stood up. "I'm gonna take a look." I grabbed his sleeve. "Dude, leave it." He just shook me off and walked a few steps toward the bridge. He didn't even get halfway before he stopped cold, turned around, and marched back with this look on his face like he'd seen something that rewrote his entire concept of danger. "Grab your gear. Now." He said it low and tight, like a warning growled through clenched teeth. "What the hell did you see?" I asked, already strapping my pack. "I don't know, but he's holding a damn machete." That was all I needed. And then he stepped out of the shadows. Tall, gaunt, shirtless despite the cold, face smeared with something dark: mud, blood, or worse, and he was definitely holding a blade. Not a hunting knife, not a hatchet, a goddamn machete. Rusty, long, and swinging from his hand like an extension of his arm. He didn't speak English, or if he did, he wasn't using it. He screamed something guttural, like an animal choking on a threat, and then he charged. We just ran. Not down the road. Not back to town. We ducked into a narrow alley behind the post office, breathing hard, crouched low like rabbits with wolves on their heels. I peeked out. He was standing near the bridge, machete dangling, pacing like a caged beast. Every few seconds, he'd bellow something, just random, guttural noise. He wasn't looking for anything. He was hunting. My heart thudded in my throat. Tyler was shaking, fists clenched. "What the hell is this place?" he hissed. I didn't have an answer. My brain had short-circuited, locked into survival mode. We waited. 15 minutes, maybe more. No sign of him. We thought maybe he'd wandered off, maybe gone back to whatever hole he crawled out of. So we circled back to the bus stop, slowly, quietly. We stayed in the shadows. And there it was, the bus stop. Empty, silent. We exhaled, laughed even. A sick, nervous laugh that barely left our chests. But then I heard it. A scrape, right behind us. I turned. He was there, right there, 20 feet away, machete raised, eyes wide and wild. No scream this time. Just a sprint, dead, silent, straight at us. I stepped forward. Maybe it was rage, but I was done running. I grabbed the biggest rock I could find and screamed right back. "Come on then, you psycho bastard!" Tyler flanked him, ready to swing his pack like a weapon. We didn't plan it. Just survival instincts. But we didn't have to fight. Then suddenly, in the middle of everything, we heard that loud voice. "Drop the weapon!" A police van skidded onto the gravel shoulder, and before the man could blink, 3 officers were on him, tasers out, one of them tackling him. The machete clattered to the pavement. Tyler fell to his knees. I leaned on the bus stop bench, sweating through my shirt despite the chill. They dragged the guy away. He was screaming and spitting like animal. One of the cops turned to us. "You boys, okay?" "No," I said, still panting. "But we're alive." And then the bus rolled up behind the cop's van. We climbed aboard in silence. This was all over. That was the last trip to Montana, and I'm done with camping in Montana. That night was the worst of our entire camping and hiking trip. Let me tell you about my camping story. It happened a year back in the Carolina woods, and I swear to God, I haven't felt right since camping in deep woods Speckley. My buddy Mason was on that trip, so we picked the Carolina backwoods. Not some trailhead with a parking lot, either deep shit, 60 miles from the nearest town, 20 from the nearest road, and at least 5 miles of rough terrain on foot from where we ditched the truck on some barely there gravel spur. We reached the creek. My thighs were burning, and Mason had sweated through his shirt. But the spot, perfect, secluded, quiet. We set up by the creek, hung a tarp, cracked a couple beers, and just breathed. For the first time in weeks, everything slowed the hell down. That lasted till late afternoon. I was finishing a makeshift spit over the fire when we heard the crunch of leaves. 4 guys stepped out of the woods. Locals, clearly. Beards, camo jackets, 2 of them wearing busted-up work boots caked with red clay. They didn't say hi or ask permission. Just came right into our sight like they were inspecting something. "You both ain't from around here," one of them said. He smiled. Mason said something polite. I didn't. I just watched. The way they circled our gear asking questions they had no reason to ask. What kind of truck we had. How long we were planning to stay. If our phones worked out there. If we had weapons. That last one made something twist in my gut. I saw one of them eye my hatchet like he was measuring the weight of it in his mind. They lingered too long. Way too long. But then, moments later, they finally left. It wasn't quiet anymore. The woods felt infected. Like they'd pissed on our space just by walking through it. Mason looked at me. I was already rolling up my sleeping bag. "We are moving now." We grabbed everything and moved quick, uphill, away from the creek, to a place we'd seen earlier that wasn't on any trail. No markers, no path, just trees and stone and the kind of quiet you want when you're trying not to be found. The climb sucked. Maybe a mile, maybe more. Steep, loose rock, thorny underbrush, 0 visibility for most of it. But we made it. Up top, the wind moved differently. The view gave us an edge. We could see the tree line below. The creek. The direction we came from. We ate cold food, skipped the fire so no one could ruin our camping trip, kept our gear close. I slept with my knife in hand, our backs to a thick oak. Around midnight, Mason tapped my shoulder. I opened my eyes, instantly awake. No words, just him pointing down the slope. I saw the lights first. Flashlights. 4 of them, bobbing like angry ghosts through the trees, down near our old spot. The same guys. Same clothes. One had a damn crowbar swinging from his hand. Another was shouldering what looked like a hunting rifle. They were tearing through the site, kicking ashes from our fire pit, ripping apart the underbrush like they were expecting to drag something or someone out of it. I couldn't hear them, not from that far up, but I didn't need to. I could see the way they moved, the tension in their shoulders. They weren't out for a stroll. They were looking to hurt somebody. And that somebody was supposed to be us for sure. We stayed dead still, barely breathed, knives in hand. Mason, with his grip wrapped so tight around his hatchet, his knuckles looked bone white. We watched them search, and when they didn't find what they wanted, they started arguing. Loud gestures, pointing in different directions. For a second, I thought one of them looked up the hill. My heart didn't beat for a full minute. But he turned away, spit into the creek, and they moved on back the way they came, disappearing into the trees. We didn't sleep, just sat, backs against trees, eyes wide, ears straining for every sound. At some point, I said, if we stayed down there, we'd be dead. Mason just nodded. At first light, we packed in silence. Left no trace. No food. No water. Just gone. We didn't take the trail back down. We bushwhacked in the opposite direction, hiking for hours until we hit a different dirt road, then followed it 6 more miles until we found a spot to call for help. The truck was fine, not touched. That's what scared me the most. They weren't after gear. They were after us. We still talk, me and Mason, once in a while, but we never choose that spot again. We were just a bunch of friends, trying to make the weekend count. Me and a few buddies holed up in this remote cabin, way the hell out in the woods. No cell service, no people for miles. Just us, some weed, and the silence that either chills you out or messes with your head. The first night went smooth. We got drunk, real dumbass energy, you know. But it was that second night when things went sideways. And I mean hell on earth sideways. It was around 10 p.m., and we were lounging in the living room, half watching some movie on DVD and half talking shit to each other. James, who's always the one to wander off, got up and mumbled something about needing a smoke. We barely noticed. Dude was always pacing around like this. Not even 5 minutes later, he came back in, looking pale as a goddamn sheet, cigarette still dangling from his mouth. "There's someone lying out there," he whispered, like he couldn't even process it. I swear, the room went dead quiet. "What the hell do you mean someone's out there?" Tom barked, already standing up. We rushed to the front window and pressed our faces to the glass. And yeah, there it was. A shape sprawled out on the ground in the faint porch light. At first, we thought it might be a drunk or some crazy lost hiker, but something about it. Something was just off. Tom, being the loudmouth idiot he is, cranked open the window and shouted, "Hey! Get the hell out of here." Nothing. No flinch. No twitch. Not even a damn breath. "Screw this," I said, grabbing the biggest kitchen knife I could find. The rest of the guys followed. We stepped onto the porch. As we got closer, the details hit us one by one. First, the clothes tattered, dirty, then the skin dry, cracked. His eyes were open, glassy, and then came the smell. Oh God, the smell. Like something crawled into your nose and died there. "He's dead," Eric muttered. "Jesus Christ, he's been dead a long time." And sure enough, around the dude's neck was a deep, brutal gash. Sloppy, angry, like someone had just sliced without care. I just stood there, staring, frozen. "We gotta get inside," I hissed. Now, we ran. Slammed the door, locked every damn window, drew the curtains tight. James called the cops. We all sat there in a clump on the floor, holding our weapons like they were gonna do a damn thing if that freak came back. The wait was hell. I don't remember how long it took, felt like hours, but eventually the cops arrived. Even they looked shook. One of them walked up to the body, crouched, then stood back like he was about to vomit. "This man's been dead for weeks," he said, dug up from the looks of it. "Dug up?" I said. "Yeah," the cop said. "Grave dirt all over him. Someone placed him here. And here's the part that still guts me. They didn't find any footprints. Not a single one heading back. Whoever did this just vanished. No evidence. Nothing." The cops tried to reassure us, but their faces told the real story. They were just as freaked as we were. Fast forward a few days later. I went looking through news archives, police reports, obituaries, anything that could explain what the hell we saw. Found nothing. No missing old man. No grave robbing case. It's like the guy never existed. I still don't have answers. Someone who wanted to mess with us. Or maybe it was something worse. Even months later, the identity and purpose of that night remains an unsolved and deeply disturbing mystery.